All right, guys, right now I have the OBSBOT Tail Air, which is a camera that I'm using to record this video right now. If you see it, it looks like a webcam, but at the same time it looks like a PTZ camera, which is actually a PTZ camera, but it also looks like just any other camera that you use for vlogging. Why? Because it can actually record on its own. So it's got a built-in battery, right? And it's got an SD card slot. I am going to be reviewing it. My name is Sam if this is the first time that we're meeting and you watching our production tips and tools. Full disclosure, this camera was sent to me by OBSBOT for the purpose of this review. However, they're not approving what I'm gonna say, plus they're not paying me. So trust me, everything is gonna be coming 100% from me. By the way, this is everything that you get in the box when you're gonna buy it. You got the camera, you got this little adapter for connecting the cable, you got this little USB Type-C adapter for connecting the power cable, and another one for sending the signal into your computer, the user guide and few accessories, and of course the famous OBSBOT carrying case. And that's pretty much it. It's just, I feel like the camera just has too many features that maybe most of you, and me included, not gonna be using. But also I feel like the camera is offering you many choices. I'm gonna give you actually all the features that I was able to write down, because it probably has more than what I put down on my paper. So you got NDI, you got PoE if you want to connect it, power it using Ethernet, because it's gonna come with a little Ethernet adapter that you can use to power it. You got HDMI. By the way, this is the first webcam that I've seen that has HDMI. You got USB. Of course, if you want to connect it directly as a webcam into something like OBS or any other streaming software, you can do that. You got USB Type-C to Ethernet. However, it does also have Wi-Fi because it has an app to control it. So the camera is connected to Wi-Fi and my phone is connected to Wi-Fi as well. So I'm able to control the camera using the app, which is gonna be something that we're gonna be talking about later in this video. And we have gesture control. You can just do some science to kind of, tell it to zoom in, or I can just do it again and it's gonna zoom out. Boom, right? Of course, I believe there's a kit you can get, and then you're gonna get the remote control. So personally, I feel like with the remote control, it's actually less overwhelming. And finally, you also have Bluetooth, right? So I feel like it's kind of too much, but it's like if you need it, now it's just zoomed in. Also, this is the part that I don't like. So these are things like, as I was saying, some of the features you may not need, and of course luckily you have an option to disable it, because that's the thing. I don't want the camera to be looking at me, maybe doing things. I'm just talking, it will just zoom in out of nowhere. You're gonna have to learn it and understand how it works, and probably have to disable some of the features. Everything is possible through the app or the remote controller. You just have to spend a little time with it. So that's pretty much it. When it comes to features, guys, I think the most exciting thing for me is the HDMI functionality, which allows me to connect multiple cameras or multiple webcams. Having something like this is going to allow you to add maybe an extra angle. Another thing, NDI, it's gonna be a game changer for sure. I know a lot of people use NDI, so you can connect via an Ethernet cable, which is awesome, right? And you're not gonna need multiple cables to power it because it's got power over Ethernet. Of course, if you have something like a switch that has power over Ethernet capability, which is awesome, all right? But you still get all the juicy stuff. So now when it comes to controlling the camera, of course you got the app that comes with it, and you got the remote controller. So let me go ahead and actually show you what the app looks like. Right now you have the app available on Android and iOS, right? So this is my Android phone. I had to get an Android phone. I have an iPhone as well, but this is what it's gonna look like. So what you're looking at right now is a different angle. Actually, I have another camera looking at me for the purpose of this review, just to show you, right? The app is called OBSBOT Start. So once you have it open, it's gonna look like this, and then I can go ahead. You're gonna connect again via Wi-Fi. OBSBOT has good tutorials to show you how to connect the camera and everything. I'm not gonna go through that, but the screen will look like this. In my opinion, they should label the buttons, because it's like you're looking at the icons but you don't know what they do. So OBSBOT, if you're watching, please consider like putting some sort of text on the icons here in the app, because because if you don't know, you don't know. It's gonna take you time to learn and kind of try and memorize everything. So I think this will be awesome to do. So yeah, if I go to this button here, it's gonna give you what they call director grid, right? Which means if I was to switch, it can actually go ahead and suggest me some angles, kind of picking some of the areas in the picture and kind of showing me what it would look like. All right, so right now if I hit on the app here, right now it's suggesting me multiple angles from the same camera, so I can go ahead and choose position 2 on the app, and as you can see, that camera is actually going to position number 2, and then it can go to position number 3, and then as you can see, it's showing me what's on air, right? So if I go ahead like this angle right here that says auto, as you can see, it's kind of zoomed in, so I can go ahead and choose that one. So like the camera is kind of auto framing, and I think this will be awesome if you want to have multiple angles from one single camera. This will be really awesome. All right, so I can go ahead and go back to the wide angle. All right, so that's it. Back to our main camera. Okay, so now if I go back to something like, and as you can see, showing me what's on the air, right? So now if I go to this icon here, it's giving me the ISO, right, for controlling the camera. So right now I'm on ISO 200 and I'm shutter speed over 100 and the EV things and everything, like all the exposure. So I chose the manual exposure, so I kind of had to. If you want, you can actually go to auto exposure. And another thing is you have like style here, you have standard, you have outdoors, you have pastel, you have custom. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually keep it on standard. As you can see, you have like a lot of icons here, you know, like this is like the grid if you need it. HDR, I think I don't need HDR for now. So once you're done, you can go to the third icon here. This is like more like a playback, so it can show you like photos and videos that you have recorded. So right now I haven't recorded anything, I don't have any SD card in there, right? So you can go to the next one here, AI, right? I believe this is for tracking me, this icon here. So this is the speed of tracking, all right? And then you have, so if I want, I can like select myself for tracking, all right? And then I can go ahead. So right now, if I move, it's kind of tracking me, right? In this frame right here. Kind of have to learn the software and do some testing and see how it goes, but you can see also have like position 1, position 2, position 3 here, which is gonna be something that I will show you. So you can have like some presets already kind of pre-made for you. Right now on this camera, if I hit P1 on the remote, right, you can see that it's actually the position where the camera is at. If I hit P2, right, I have it set to that position, and I hit P3, you can see that it's going to kind of zoom in. It's gonna give me this kind of zoomed in image, right? If you go to the 3 dots here, this is where you can actually disable or enable some stuff. So the gesture control, you remember I was having some issues. Sometimes I would just do things like this on the screen and the camera would think that I'm actually, you know, trying to track myself or trying to tell it to zoom in or zoom out. Even the zooming, you can decide how much zoom you want when you do this gesture and everything. Okay, and then for the built-in microphone, if you want to use the built-in microphone, I can go ahead and actually enable it. So right now the built-in mic is on, and then as you can see, I got the signal, all right? And then you can set it to automatic gain, noise reduction, and everything. You have all that. All right, and again, this is if you're recording directly from the camera, or if you want to send the signal via HDMI and getting the signal kind of recorded, so you can do that. It's possible. Another thing, you can choose face auto exposure, which is awesome. And then you got the UVC mode if you want to use that, and then you got NDI here if you want to activate NDI, RTSP mode if you want to use that, and then you got media settings here. You got the frame rate, you got the encoder. So this is if you actually want to, you may actually be able to stream directly from this camera, right? You got RTSP encoder H265, you can change it if you want. You got bitrate, medium, resolution 1080p. If you want to do 4K, you can do that. So, and then you got your tail air settings in here, all right? Power on, power, like all the good stuff. It's just you're gonna have to go through the settings and just choose what you need, because I mean, again, with this video I can't go through everything, right? But everything you're gonna find it here in settings, right? So that's pretty much it for the software. Again, you can even like record. If you want to record, you can just hit the huge record button, no problem, and you're gonna be able to record. Now for the remote, I have it here. Let me show you what it's gonna look like. So this is what the remote controller looks like. So as you can see, I have all the 3 cameras now. So if I hit to P1, because I already have it kind of set, as you can see, it's transitioning to this view. All right, if I hit P2, as you can see, it's transitioning to a different view. You got a joystick here, and you got an on and off button here to turn off all the cameras. There's a zoom button here on the side. All right, so I can easily kind of zoom in like this, and you got a button here for recording, and then you got another button for taking a still. You got a button here for tracking, animal tracking, human tracking. I don't know what this one does, but guys, it's pretty simple, and it uses USB Type-C for charging, so you can charge it, make sure it has power and everything. And that's pretty much it. So my thoughts about this camera. Let's start with the image quality. Looking at the image that comes out of this camera, I think the image quality looks good. Again, it's got 4K image. You have room to kind of crop and use a director's grid thing, so you can actually take one camera and use it to kind of create multiple angle, which I feel like I'm kind of intrigued to make that kind of video. So if you guys are interested, please let me know in the comment so I can see how I can use one camera and kind of create like 3-4 angles you know, from one camera. But other than that, I like the actual image. I think, in my opinion, it actually does look good. So you guys can tell me what you're looking at right now. It's zoomed in. It's got 8 times optical zoom lens, which is great. So when you're zooming, you're not using digital zoom, you're using the actual lens to zoom in and zoom out, which is awesome. So you also, because you got 4K, so you still have like some sort of resolution to kind of play with, which is awesome. The actual image sensor is actually a little smaller compared to the tiny 2 4K. If you guys watch my video about the tiny 4K, the tiny 2 4K, the image sensor is 1/1.5. This one is 1/1.8, which is still like not super small, but again, it's kind of small. I think the image looks natural. The skin tones look more real. If you're in the beauty kind of stuff, probably compared to the Tiny 2, I think the Tiny 2 would be better when it comes to like image quality, beauty style and stuff, like something that makes you look pop out and look super good. But this one, it gives you like real skin tones, like nothing added. It looks like a real camera, and I'm actually super excited to kind of take in post-production and see what I can do in terms of color grading. And I can also see myself using it with an SD card and recording in 4K and actually color grading the footage and kind of take a look at what it's gonna look like. Probably that would be for another video. Is this a camera that I would recommend? Again, if you look at the pricing right now, it's actually around $500. I would 100% recommend this camera, or this streaming camera. I don't know what to call it. Why? Because I feel like this is something that if you don't need it, you don't need it, and if you need it, this is a must-have camera. All right, why am I saying that? Unfortunately, some of the things I may have to buy or to pay for that you're never gonna use, but is it worth the money? This can compete with most huge, bigger PTZ cameras, right, that cost way more than $500, right? So it's worth it. As a PTZ camera, I think this will work, right? It has everything that any bigger PTZ camera has. This has it, even the sensor size, everything. Probably maybe the lens is 8 times, and most PTZ cameras will be like 10 or 20. As a webcam, it works, right? As a webcam. So it's like it does everything camera, in my opinion. You may want to consider the Tiny 2 from OBSBOT, which is another camera that I reviewed myself, and it's just a webcam. It's got 4K, it's got bigger sensor. The image quality, in my opinion, it's even better than this one. And you're just gonna plug in into OBS and start recording or any other streaming software and just go live, which is awesome. But if you feel like this is the right camera and you have been waiting for this type of camera, I have actually been intrigued by the fact that I could connect HDMI into a webcam like this one. So I have received 3 units from OBSBOT, and in my next video I'm gonna be showing you how to build a multi-camera or multi-angle setup using this type of cameras. You still get the gesture control if you need it, you still get the tracking if you need it, you still get the presets. You can have one camera give you multiple angles. So probably if you're using like 3 cameras like me, it may give you even more than 3 angles, and everything, guys, running over HDMI into my A10 Mini Pro. Again, this is angle number 1, this is angle number 2, and then we got angle number 3 on the other camera, right? So if you want to check out that video, I'm gonna link it here. But other than that, I've got also my OBSBOT Tiny 2 4K video that you can check out here, and I will see you there, guys. Take care.